Dave stayed on his feet.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay. Looks like we got Jacob ready to hop in here. We'll give him time to get in here and get settled in. But Tim, how was your day, sir?
Great. Did a little running some errands, enjoying the last little bit of nice weather we're getting for we're in full-on fall mode. Right. Still a little bit of 80s up here in Green Bay during the day, so had to get out there and enjoy it.
I hear that, man. It's we're expecting a little heat wave, and then next week we're supposed to get that actual fall weather, so we'll get down in the 40s at night and all that good stuff. So what's up, Jacob? How was your day, sir?
It was good. Some would say it was a great day. I spent way too much time actually talking to Tim on the phone today.
Yeah.
Nice.
we
what does that mean? That means you don't want to talk to me on the phone anymore?
No, it's just it realized we're like two old men that meet each other at the fence, and all of a sudden it's like it's been an hour and we have talked about basically.
Yeah, it's like you're right. Time flies when you're having fun, brother.
I do have to actually make a shout out. The reason I was a little bit late, my best friend of all time, Tony, his son, he's a single dad. His son turns 10 today, and he is bringing Mason Anthony, you little pooper. He has got 7 of his best friends. Tony rented him a hotel. He's going to be staying next to him, letting him party and play a video game. So shout out to those boys. It's pure anarchy. I don't know how the hell people raise children, let alone 10-year-old boys.
That's dad of the year material right there, right? I mean,
Yes.
If you're 10 years old, what else could you possibly want other than to play video games all night and eat junk food all night and not have to worry about it?
They sent me a list. They sent me a list of all the food they wanted, so I went and bought that for them times like 2. They walked in and they were like, "Yeah!" I was like, "All right."
I love it.
They're all sugared up.
Look here in the chat too. I can't pull it up on the screen, guys, because it's not compatible with StreamYard. But I see everybody found the PTA Posse Shield emoji, so that's really cool. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you're seeing people post the emoji. So we're going to try to upgrade that too. What I'd like to do is get pictures of everybody's faces, kind of like the McAfee show does, like a picture of Jake, a picture of Tim. You guys can just post that up there. Bang, quick emoji. I thought that'd be cool. So we'll see. We'll get cheesy with it. We'll see how cheesy we can get with it. So first things first, let's talk injury report, guys. We got the final report here. To me, it was all good news. Really excited about how this shook out here. First things first, everybody basically doesn't have a game status other than 3 people, which essentially means everyone should be good to go other than these 3, okay? And here are the 3. Jordan Morgan, and we did get confirmation it was the same shoulder that he hurt in training camp, so that's something that obviously they're not expecting him to be out for 4 weeks, but it's something that's definitely lingering. He is ruled out Sunday against the Titans, okay? Carrington Valentine with the ankle injury did not participate all week. He is doubtful. All right. And then, of course, the big news, Jordan Love, limited participation all week long. He is listed as questionable. And just to kind of reaffirm what those injury statuses mean on a technical basis, doubtful means 75% chance you will not play. All right. Questionable means it's a 50-50 shot. So this is obviously Jordan was questionable last week as well. This really doesn't catch me by any surprise. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I figured it would be a game time decision. That way, even if you're at this point in the week and you think, okay, Jordan's not going to go, I would still list it as questionable and say it's a game time decision. And by game time, meaning 90 minutes before, go ahead and roll with it. Right now, I haven't heard whether or not Sean Clifford has been elevated yet. Now, that can happen all the way up till kickoff. Last week, it happened fairly soon, if you guys will remember. Tim, Jacob, you guys heard anything about Sean Clifford up to this point?
No, I haven't. And I would assume that this would be even more last minute this time around, right? Because we know Jordan's had progress. He practiced all week. It was limited, but he practiced. That didn't happen last week. So I would assume if we're going to get a Sean Clifford activation as a backup, that's going to come pretty much under the gun here, last minute. I would think Jordan Love being listed as questionable, we all know what that means. It could go either way at this point. You see Carrington Valentine doubtful. Obviously, he's not going to play. There's a overwhelming possibility he's not going to play. So, it's good. This is better than what we saw last week as far as the injury report goes. Most of these guys will be playing. And, QB1 is the most important name on this list here. And I don't know. I think there's still a chance he plays Sunday.
Yeah, completely agree, man. Jacob, anything you want to hit on the Packers side here of the injury report?
I guess is there a timeline? What is the last kind of minute where they can say, hey, we're elevating Clifford and Love's not going to play? Is it that morning, like by 10 a.m. or something around those lines? Is that
90 minutes prior to kickoff?
I think
is that about it? Okay.
Yeah. So he could be holding out on that, right? And for some that are going, why would you do that? The reason you would do that is if the longer you wait to elevate him, that gives the Titans, hey, Jordan's probably playing. We got to prepare for Jordan Love to play, right? And then 90 minutes before, bang, you elevate Sean Clifford and Malik Willis as the starter. Now you've limited the amount of preparation you could specifically do on each quarterback throughout the week, right? I personally think Jordan Love's going to play. That's just my feeling. I could be completely wrong. You guys know I've been leaning that way ever since they said he was close last week, right? So I think there's a good chance he's gonna be playing there on Sunday. Here was a tweet that came out from Matt Schneidman, and he quote tweeted himself from earlier. It says, Jordan Love is questionable for Sunday's game. Has he been medically cleared? LaFleur said, quote, we're working through that. So he quote tweeted that, he being Matt Schneidman, and said, when asked if Love had been medically cleared, LaFleur nodded, then said, they're working through it. Asked if the nod meant yes, LaFleur again said, they're working through it. So I think all signs are pointing to he's going to be playing. That's just me. So we had a little bit of practice footage here that came out from Matt Schneidman too. And you see Jordan at practice. The tweet says Jordan Love appears to be practicing for the third straight day. We're only allowed to watch indoor warm-ups on Fridays and not outdoor individual drills. But Love did everything inside and went outside with the team before we left. Packers fly to Nashville tomorrow. So I think yesterday when the team went outside, or maybe it was the first day of practice that he was limited, when the team went outside, he didn't go outside immediately. So it was pretty obvious, according to Matt Schneidman, that he actually went out with the team. So probably a good sign that he did go through team drills. So
yeah, and I was thinking. Oh, go ahead, Clay. Sorry.
I was just going to say, you see testing the knee here. He looks pretty good to me. But.
Yeah, putting the weight on it, one leg at a time like that, he looks like he's moving pretty well. Of course,
Tim, did you see the Pat McAfee show today when they were going in live on this? Who's the resident Packer fan that they got there?
Ty Schmidt.
Ty. Okay. So yeah, they went to him, and then they actually showed this exact clip here by Schneidman, and they were like, look at the way he's doing not only that side to side, but the 1 foot at a time skipping. He said that's really important. AJ Hawk reiterated, he goes, they wouldn't be letting him do that if they didn't actually think he was going to play, because of that side to side, the MCLs, when you have to really worry about that kind of mobility. And right there, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see it right there real clear. He doesn't seem to be favoring anything right there. He is going back and forth. Right. He's doing one knee skips at a time. He's jumping back and forth like a kangaroo style. He looks like an Australian break dancer, to be honest.
Tim,
they're not throwing any 300-pound linemen at him though right now. So
that's fair. That's fair.
That skip right there though, that looks like me when I stuck my toe on the fridge after I've had too many Tito's.
Can I just take a minute to appreciate us dissecting pre-practice indoor warm-ups like it's the Zapruder film? This is just this is phenomenal. The thing I wanted to say is Jordan playing or not, we're not going to know until the last minute. Let's say they know right now. They could know right now that he's good to go. They're not going to tell anybody right away. You're not in a hurry to release that information publicly into your opponent. So, I think whether he plays or he doesn't, we'll get that pretty close to as close to kickoff as they can get away with, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Ron Sample says, I'm with Clayton. Jordan's going to play in my mind. There you go. Greg Rice says 65% chance that there's a 95% chance he plays, actually. So I know that is definitely approved by the great Mark Murphy.
65%.
65%. That's what we. So there you go.
That clip will never die. It just will never go.
It better not. I won't let it. This show will go to 0 viewers before I let that die. So even then, we'll probably still do it. There just won't be anybody to see it. So there is your Jordan Love update of the day. Let me see if I had any other screen grabs to hit on here. There was something else. We already hit the Love medical. Oh, let's get back to the injury report real quick. So obviously those are the only 3 Packers that I'm concerned about. The way I'm understanding the practice or the injury report here is everyone else will be playing unless something crazy happens, in the next 24 hours. Tennessee Titans, they only got 4 on their injury list. It was Morgan Cox. Of course, it's a Cox, right? So full participation as he had an ankle injury that wasn't listed. It must have just popped up on Friday, but he was full participation. Arguably their best defensive player in Jeffery Simmons had NIR rest, was obviously just veteran rest. He's good to go. L'Jarius Sneed, their great press corner, he's good to go. And Tajay Spears, the backup running back with the ankle injury, did not participate, then was limited on Thursday, full participation on Friday, and his official status is the same as Jordan's, as questionable. So that could be a game time decision there. So that is the injury report. Really, when you think about it, both teams fairly healthy, when you really take all things into consideration. If Jordan plays, you're already kind of rotating in and out at right guard, so it's not like Jordan Morgan's a starter. And then, of course, Carrington Valentine was rotating with Eric Stokes. I don't think anybody would see Carrington as over Eric Stokes on the depth chart. So it sucks not having that extra depth there with Carrington if something were to happen on the boundary. But as it sits right now, he's listed as doubtful, which, like we said, 75% chance that he will not play. So
can I ask a question real quick? Do you think that if, like we just said, if Carrington's not going to play, and we saw that kind of odd split with him and Stokes, if for whatever reason this week we see a split where, say, Ballantyne has equal splits with Stokes, are we supposed to read into that at all? That they don't trust Stokes? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense at all? Or because they played it off right away with like, hey, Carrington's that good, or like there's just matchups for that kind of way.
As fans, that's what we've been screaming for. You guys remember the last few years? It's like, why do we not let these guys compete? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to pick on him, but Josh Myers is one. It's like, so we're just going to say, nope, he's the center and not try to, open up the competition. So I know players and former players especially that I've heard talk about, the rotation in game. They really hate it, especially at the offensive line position or, offensive line group, I should say. But, yeah, to answer your question there, Jacob, the way I see that with Carrington, if you do a rotation with Ballantyne and Stokes now, I think it's more about Stokes than it was about Carrington. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But what's crazy is, like, we've talked about Stokes. Felt like that's the best he's looked in a long time earlier in the year. So that's what was so odd about it, We'll see, though. One more thing here. Josh Jacobs did have this quote from Matt Schneidman. Josh Jacobs was asked today how Jordan Love looked in practice this week. He said, quote, "He's looked all right. He's been limited, but he looks all right," said with a smile. He said, I think they asked him, was there a team meeting about everyone saying limited? Jacobs responded and said, I don't know nothing about nothing. So, and he did laugh. It was a good interview if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out yet. Since we're talking about Josh Jacobs, let's jump into this. And we're going to do a very, very deep, extensive preview tonight. That's going to be the goal. We're just getting through a couple of things that happen on the surface. Anytime you get any kind of storyline going into a game, I absolutely love it. This is Jeffery Simmons. This is their best defensive lineman.
Ooh, this made me mad, dude.
Jeffery Simmons on Josh Jacobs, quote, "Nobody runs the ball on the Tennessee Titans." That's what he said. All right. Now, Matt Schneidman had tweeted out, Josh Jacobs responded and said, "Me personally, I heard the comment. A lot of people sent it to me. I don't really feel no type of way about it. If I was on defense, I'd be saying the same thing. Running the ball or offensively, I feel like can't no defense stop us. So I would say the same thing. Obviously, they got a good defensive front. The back guys have played a lot of football. They're a physical team. So we're going to see." I love that response. No, man, I'd respond the same way, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out.
Run the freaking ball right at them all.
Have you seen this clip, Tim? Have you seen this before?
No, I haven't. But
That makes me upset.
I get it.
All right, let's go.
This is like trash talk before a fight, right? Two boxers before a weigh-in, getting a little last chirping.
Yeah.
So
never understood it. My dad taught me.
It's posturing. They're nervous about playing this Packers team. I can tell you that right now.
My dad taught me, keep your mouth shut and you throw the first sucker punch. That's what he always taught me. Here we go.
I mean, he liked to get the ball to the edges a lot, but I mean, they had 70 plays on offense and 50 was run last game, and 32 was his carry. So I feel like they were protecting their offense. They try to protect the ball. They try to protect Malik last game. They ran the ball, like I said, 50 times in that game. So, and that was Malik as well. So at the end of the day, since I've been here in Tennessee, and I've been preaching this message since I've been here, since, that's kind of what got brought to my attention. No one run the ball on the Tennessee Titans defense. So I think our mindset is, and one of our defensive goals this week is to stop the run. So no matter who have the ball in their hand, we have to swarm to the ball, make sure everybody gets to the ball, and quite frankly, we need to get the ball off them. So
let's go. He just said off the edges. You see that?
Yeah.
Let's go inside zone. Come on, Maddie. Let's go. A gap all day. Let's go right up the gut.
Absolutely. Jake, if you got anything to add to that before we move on, sir, anything at all?
No, only, I have no qualms with the way that Mass run the offense. Obviously, he's one of the best skilled, I would say, schemers that maybe we've seen in modern history, the way that he's able to adapt there. I wish, though, that we just had like a Lorenzo Neal, John Kuhn, freaking Mike Allstott style type fullback that we could just literally beat them down the face with. I just wish we had that type of player. I don't see that happening in this game. Josh Jacobs, for pretty much by himself, without a lead fullback, is kind of as smash mouth as you get nowadays in this league. So I hope his response is basically what Omer says here. You see Jacobs' response in that video, Clayton? He said, "You don't think anyone can stop us?" Well, okay, we'll see.
And here's the thing, too. Typically what happens in a game like this where we're talking about, there's a matchup. We're trying to run the ball on this and that. Something like this happens. Yeah, you have somebody like Jaden Reed just absolutely blow up, right? So PFF tweeted this out, big play machines. So the most 20-plus yard gains this season, there's only two players that have had more or the most 20-plus yard gains, and they're tied for that title. Malik Neighbors with 5 and Jaden Reed with 5. So Jaden Reed is just an absolute explosive machine. And that's what wins you ball games. That's what puts points on the board of those explosive plays. I could see this being a Jaden Reed game. I could. And when you got L'Jarius Sneed and he's really good at bump and run, playing that press coverage, that's great and all. But throw Watson out there and let him bump him all day long, right? And then you run a little slot cross off of it. Run a little slot cross or a little dagger, and you could throw him into the slot, try to get L'Jarius Sneed's attention, and then let's just work our boys underneath. And then when they try to go double up on someone or try to bracket cover one side of the field, especially when we're in a trips or a bunch set, and they try to throw that little Mabel look, then go to the backside to the boundary X to Romeo Dobbs and give your boy a shot at a couple jump balls. If Jordan plays in this game, I think Tennessee has really got a rude awakening coming. Their defense has been good up to this point, but guys, it's early in the season. You basically have to throw week 1 out the window. And typically what happens in week 2, week 3, you kind of revert back to what you've seen in week 1. That's a lot of times what will happen early in the season. Preparation will overshadow everything, obviously. But I say you go out there, if Jordan's in this game, I say you go out there and play action their butt since they're looking for the run and just cut them up through the freaking air too. I see this game playing that way. Here's the other thing. Last week, the heat was an issue, 86 degrees in Green Bay. We had offensive linemen throwing up like Jacob on Sunday morning, right? That this week, I could see it being like, okay, you take a little bit of stress off the run game if Jordan's playing, and what happens? Your hog mollies up front stay a lot fresher, right? And I'm sure there's people out there that don't understand, like, why did they get so overexerted running the ball? Guys, when you're running the ball, and offensive linemen love run blocking, way more than pass blocking. Pass blocking, this is how Bulaga described it. you're basically, all right, I'm going to get hit in the mouth and I've got to absorb it. That's how that works. When you're calling running plays, that's the offensive line's opportunity to punish the defensive line, right? So last week it was just, pushing Mack trucks all day long. That's why they were overexerted. You come back this week, go with some play action off of that. I think that the offensive line will stay a little fresher. I'm not saying that we should get completely away from the run, but if Jordan Love plays, the play action is primed up right now because it's obvious everybody's talking about the running game. Tennessee's going to be looking for it, no doubt. Now,
I would think we could even do a similar version of that, even if Malik Willis is our starter. I think we could pepper in a little bit more. We talked about, Matt maybe opening up the playbook a little more now if he's going to start a second time in a row. We liked what we saw last week. Maybe he does. Maybe we go heavy run, but we also mix in that play action boot.
Yep, definitely. I can see it too, man. So Jaden Reed obviously off to a good start in this early season here. So let's do this. Let's jump into some of the game preview. I'm really excited about this. We've been wanting to talk about it for a few days now. I'm going to try to get these screens to where everything looks close enough that you guys can actually read it. This first one is from NFL Pro, which is just an excellent website. Everybody has been diving into this. So really, really cool tool for anyone who does a podcast or anything in between. So here's how it sits right now. Actually, let me see if I can refresh it without losing our page here.
Yeah, there we go.
Make sure that we get the updated lines and everything. All right, so Green Bay Packers at the Tennessee Titans. All right, and again, this is on NFL Pro. Points per game, the Packers are 11th in the league at 22.5 points per game. The Titans are 19th at 17 points per game. Point differential, the Packers are sitting 13th in the league at a +1. The Titans are 20th at -14. Record in close games, albeit we've only played 2 games. Record in both of those games for both teams were close games, right? So the Packers are 1-1. Obviously, the Titans are 0-2. Average margin of victory, the Packers are 10th in the league at 6 points. Average margin of victory, obviously, coming off the Colts. The Titans are sitting at 16th with just 0 because they haven't won a damn game yet. Turnover differential. The Packers are second in the league now at +4 in turnover differential. Now,
what?
First,
Say that again. We're what?
They're actually first in takeaways, but they're second in turnover differential, which is at a +4. The Titans are 10th at -4, which isn't horrible, but that's a big difference right there. Total penalties, though, the Packers have definitely been less disciplined. 10th in the league, still top 10, though. It's hard to be pissed off about that. 16 penalties, but the Titans are 7th in the league with only 13 penalties. The line currently right now, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, the Packers are catching 3 points, which simply means the Titans are 3-point favorites there at Nissan Stadium. The over-under is set at 38.5. To me, that seems a little low. It really does. And then the money, and that's if all these numbers, in my opinion, is if Jordan plays, right? That's how I'm seeing this. Now, someone said earlier, I think it was Michael Lombardi said, you've seen the line start to move closer to 1.5. So Packers +1.5 when Jordan Love actually went, onto the practice field earlier in the week. I haven't seen that from the bookies I've looked at. Money line, Green Bay is +124. The Titans are -148. You guys have the floor on that before we scroll down and see some other matchup comparisons here.
I mean, personally, I look at that and the Packers plus I don't know. I never really quite get Vegas, and then all of a sudden I look like a fool every time the games end. But Tim, what do you think? I mean, one thing that made me kind of perk up a little bit there is number 2 in turnover differential. I mean that high score. What does that mean? Did we break it? What does that mean?
No, I love it. This is again why I love Jeff Hafley. From day one, he preached this: playing the ball, being ball hawks, getting takeaways, and we're starting to see it now in the stat column going into week 3. So a lot to be excited about for us defensive football fans out there. It's been a while since we've really seen that ball hawking approach kind of to the defense. We talked about rallying to the ball carrier. We talked about the group effort when it comes to tackling. there are guys on our defense that have had their issues with tackling, making clean open field tackles. And one way to shore that up instantly is to have 2 or 3 of your teammates right over your shoulder helping you out on these plays. And, we are living and dying as a team. Win or lose, we're doing it together. And, these guys got the right attitude on defense. They are going after the ball. They're playing aggressive. That's what aggressive defense is. It isn't a matter of zone or man or, scheme necessarily. It's your mindset and your approach. It's really reminiscent of we saw some of those Baltimore Ravens defenses that we talked about, where they would just take the ball away. Like it didn't matter if you were, only down a score and, you had 3 timeouts and plenty of time and you're marching down the field. They found a way to literally take the football away from you. And that can separate a lot of teams when it comes down to playoff time as who's really going to have the legs to advance in the postseason. It usually tends to be the teams that, they have the explosive offense, but they've got ball hawking defenses that are backing them up. So it's nice to see the Packers in that category right now.
Definitely. And, last year, that was what was missing. We were the 12th best scoring defense in the league, but man, turnovers. And
were we like 27th in turnovers or something?
Yeah. I think we actually broke even on turnover differential because Jordan did such a good job in the second half protecting the football. But if you had been +5, you probably would have won a couple more games last year. You really would have. So that's what we're tracking this year, obviously, is to be a top 5 in takeaways. So team overview. Let's look at some of the matchup comparisons here from a team overview standpoint. Overall passing efficiency. This is the Packers offense versus the Titans defense, okay? Overall passing efficiency, Packers are number 5. The Titans are number 10. So Green Bay has a 1-star advantage according to NFL Pro, okay, and Next Gen Stats. Overall rushing efficiency, the Packers are 9th. The Titans defense is 17th. So they're giving the Packers a 2-star advantage in that regard. Pressure rate, the Packers offense handles pressure 7th best according to this, and the Titans defense are 24th best at getting pressure. Packers have a 4-star advantage there. You seeing the trend here? Why in the world are we 3-point underdogs? Because we're on the road. If this was in Green Bay, I bet Green Bay would be 3-point favorites. I believe that. So keep that in mind. Now, when we go over to the Titans side, so now we're talking Titans offense, okay, Green Bay Packers defense. Overall passing efficiency, the Titans are 29th. Green Bay's passing defense, from an efficiency standpoint, 18th. All right, 4-star advantage in the pass for the Packers. And Tim, anytime you want to let that video roll all the way through, I am not going to fight you. Overall rushing efficiency, the Titans are 13th on offense. The Packers rush defense 18th. That gives the Titans a 2-star advantage. And then pressure rate, the Titans offense handles pressure 32nd.
Woo.
Dead last. The Packers are 16th when applying pressure.
Pressure pick, coverage, sack.
Took it down the sideline, turned over with my guys, gave the football to a little kid wearing 23.
It is. So that gives the Packers a 5-star advantage. So basically what you've got, Packers offensively, they've got a 1-star advantage in passing efficiency, 2-star in rushing efficiency, 4-star in pressure rate. On the Titans offense, Packers defensive side, the Packers have a 4-star advantage in passing efficiency, and the Titans have a 2-star rushing efficiency advantage, and pressure rate, the Packers have a 5-star advantage. So this is really priming up, guys, for the Packers pass rush to have that day we're looking for. Here's the only reason I say I'm hesitant. He can scramble. And we've seen that Jeff Hafley is not going to allow his ego to get in the way of playing complementary football. I don't think they pin their ears back and go crazy. I think we kind of approach it the same way we did with week 1, week 2. Let's make Will Levis sit in the pocket as it's collapsing and throw the ball straight to our defenders. That should be the game plan here.
Do you think that can that game plan? Sorry to interrupt you, but does that change if Jordan Love is the starter or if Malik Willis is the starter?
I don't think it does. You kind of look at both of those sides of the ball as it's different game plan. No matter who your starting quarterback is, you don't go in thinking, okay, this quarterback is starting for us, so this is how we're going to attack their offense. Defensive coordinators just don't see it like that. When I say from a complementary standpoint, and what he was talking about in Jeff Hafley at the presser. I think what he's talking about is I'm not worried about the numbers. I don't care about how many yards we gave up rushing. I don't care how many yards we gave up passing. What we're looking to do is save that bullet in the gun for crucial situations, and then we're going to fire our shot like they did to get that tackle for a loss on third down to push them out of field goal range, right? Things like that. I think that's what they're looking at. And they're going to show shell coverage at times too. They are, because Will Levis goes out there. The reality is Will Levis is not a deep shot thrower. He's got a cannon for an arm, but he couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a mop throwing deep. He is not good at it, at least early on in his career.
We're going to give him some.
Wasn't great at Kentucky doing that either. He really wasn't. So anything you guys want to comment there on the efficiency? I thought that was great news for the Packers there.
No, I think you summed it up pretty well there, Clayton. I love it.
Yeah. Is there any chance that in the next few minutes we can kind of take down some of the chat here, because we're building them up pretty good?
Yeah, man. Go ahead. Fire away. Let's do it.
You want to start now? All right, cool.
Yeah, let's go.
Mr. Greg Rice, awesome to see you as always. He says he's moving well. If he is too sore tomorrow, that is the only reason he will not play. Regarding Jordan Love there, and I think that it's a crazy good sign that it was 3 now straight practices, right? And 2 of them that were padded, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And then Jen Wright basically comes in and she's got a really good take here. She goes, give it a 50.1% chance he plays.
Heard it from a fan right here.
That's pretty good. Prince comes in. Ain't no break dancers like Australian break dancers.
Amen.
That's true.
You ain't seen my Uncle Bill on a Saturday night at Shakers back home.
Dave MX Garcia says, having torn my MCL, you ain't doing that jig for fun, bud. LOL, meaning I would assume that he thinks that Mr. Jordan Love is going to be ready to go. I kind of agree with that. It looks like he's really testing it, right? Like that seems fair to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Dave James says, I wish to apologize for the Aussie so-called breakdancer and the Aussie version of The Office. I'm telling you guys, it is
the Aussie version of The Office is way worse than the breakdancing.
It is, and that's so sad because they're both.
But I will say this though, Dave, don't you feel obligated to apologize? I'm not going to apologize for you guys not being able to understand History Channel swamp people talking, right? So you shouldn't apologize for the breakdancers in Australia. All right, sir. So you're good.
I don't know. I think he still should. Jason Yu says, I just got down with my 5th knee. Oh boy, my 5th knee surgery a little while ago. During rehab, jumping on that leg was the hardest thing, especially because the confidence issue. So a good sign to see where Jordan obviously is at right now. Thank you for that, Jason. That's a lot of injuries, bro. I'm sorry about that. And then Mr. Fred McFarley, talk is cheap. It takes money to buy whiskey. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
That was actually in my vows when me and Mandy got married.
Is that right? So I can see that. Dave again says, everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth. One of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite people of all time.
That's from Mike Tyson, right?
That's from Mike Tyson, man.
Spinal.
Lennox Lewis, I'm going to eat your children. That's an actual quote. So anyone.
You heard it
Prince
from a fan right here.
Prince comes in. says,
This is why we don't hit the chat, Jacob.
There's so many more worse quotes that I could say right now that are popping into my head, and I just can't. I love you, Mike. He's such a good person now. But back then, oh my. Prince Caps says don't say neighbor's name 2 more times or else Jake Shavink will appear.
Like Beetlejuice.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's the quote of the night right there.
Put it on the ticker.
Right. Wolfpack. Eric Wilson has been incredible. I agree with that completely. The Shavink thing, that just made it's hilarious. Watch him pop up now. What?
Yep, exactly. He's gonna go showtime. Which, by the way, we went and watched the Beetlejuice.
Did you really?
Yeah, we loved it, man. It was good.
Actually, that makes sense. That's a fair where they actually brought this same guy back. I agree. Okay. Yeah.
Well, the only guy they didn't bring back was the father who got in trouble for some CP stuff. So I don't want to ruin the movie for you, but they handled that absolutely perfect how they handled his character. So for a bad human being, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, any other chats, Jacob?
No, I think we just got through them.
We're good to go. All right. This is one of my favorite features here. Tim, I think you're really going to dig this, man. This is one of the favorite features on NFL Pro and their next-gen stats approach to the deep dives. This is called Matchup Insights. All right, let's start with the first one over here to the left. And it says, the Packers called a design run on 73.1% of the plays Sunday against the Colts, the highest rate in a game since Week 10 of 2022. Yeah. The Packers have leaned on their run game to create big plays, totaling a league best. Let me say it again: a league best 13 design rushes of 10 or more yards. Additionally, the Packers ball carriers have averaged 4.3 yards after contact per carry on design rushes this season, the third highest rate in the NFL. This production on the ground has come with the arrival of Josh Jacobs, who has increased his rushing yards over expected per carry from minus 0.4 in 2023 to plus 1.3 this season, while the Titans defense has allowed plus 33 rushing yards over expected this season. They have allowed ball carriers to gain more rushing yards than expected on 41% of design rushes this season.
Nobody runs on the Tennessee Titans.
Exactly. So you start to peel back the onion and you see, okay, maybe things are a little bit different under the surface. The sixth highest rate in the NFL on those, that 41% of the design rushes this season, allowing more yards than expected. Thought that was really cool. Just a neat little nugget there, right? And next one, Calvin Ridley. All right, Calvin Ridley, I think, is hands down the Titans' best receiver. I think they've still got Hopkins, but he's kind of a shell of himself. They've got Treylon Burks, although I love anyone who hunts hogs with a knife. The dude hasn't been a good football player at the NFL level. And listen, he was my draft crush. When I heard him talk and he was talking about hunting wild boar with a knife, like, that's my guy. I need him crack back blocking. You know what I'm saying? But he just hasn't panned out to this point. Doesn't mean he's not going to be a good football player. It is still early. But here's Calvin Ridley's right up here. Titans wide receiver Calvin Ridley has gained 0 of his 127 receiving yards when being pressed so far this season.
Very interesting. So Josh not going to be on Calvin Ridley then.
Despite facing press coverage on 16% of his snaps, that's a pretty healthy chunk. He has only seen 2 targets on those routes and did not catch either of them. Dating back to the start of 2023, Calvin Ridley has averaged 5.7 yards per target when pressed versus 8.6 when not pressed. This week against the Packers, Ridley should have plenty of space as they play press coverage at only the 19th highest rate in the league at 18%. Okay, now I don't know where all those people are that said we were going to be playing press every snap.
They playing press man every snap, Clay.
What if we just put a press corner on him, on Ridley, and we play, everybody else how they play a little off.
And you notice
get up in his breadbasket a little bit, jam him off that snap.
Who would you do? Who would you actually start though? Would it be Ballantyne now?
As far as the best press corner, man, that's tough. I could comb through SIS, but it would take some time to work through the filters. I don't know who our best press corner would be. There's many people that would say Jair. I strongly disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with that. And you guys know I'm a Jair fan, and I would totally agree with that statement, Clayton. That
it's just not his strength, right?
It's not his strength. I'd almost put swap Bullard and Williams and drop Javon Bullard up there, see if he can press up on him.
Oh boy! Here's something else.
I feel good about giving Evan Williams a shot in that secondary back there, and maybe we bring Bull up a little closer to the line.
And it's all going to come down to formations too. Like we talk as if every play you can create these matchups, but the reality is when the team goes to trips or a team goes to bunch, everything changes. Typically, the guy on the line of scrimmage is the only one that will get pressed out of the bunch. You got some switch concepts that come out of the bunch set, so you don't even know who you're covering, although you're lining up on them and playing quote-unquote man coverage. They switch after the snap depending on the route concept. So just something to kind of keep in mind there. It's really not as simple as just let's put that guy on him. I'll tell you someone else, though, that does come to mind. We seen it last year when we went back and watched the tape in the offseason when we signed Xavier McKinney. He ain't opposed to matching up on a receiver either. That might be the guy that you put
Right.
in space.
And then you put Bullard and Williams back there together.
You could
as your
do it.
safeties.
You could do it. You never know, man.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that, like what Omar said, I mean, we looked back, like you just said, at who else was the best quote unquote cornerback that we had in most statistical categories? It was Ballantyne, right? That's what we figured out from our studies last year. So, I mean, I don't know if he's healthy and if he's good to go, man. I mean, he seems more of like that more consistent corner. So, anyways.
Man, stick Job back there at safety and bring X up.
Yo, I'm telling you, isn't that crazy that we have that option right now where we're thinking about that? Whereas we are.
I'm sure the coaching staff isn't having.
Well, that's true. Yeah, we're looking at it through a Madden spectrum. That's true.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Next key insight here, Zach Tom. All right, and this is what it says: Titans edge defender Harold Landry is coming off a solid Week 2 performance against the Jets, in which he finished with 4 pressures and 2 sacks on just 22 pass rushes. That's an 18.2% pressure rate. Landry is currently the heartbeat of the Titans pass rush, as he is the only player on the team with more than 2 pressures this season. I don't mean to laugh. Landry has lined up as a left edge on 82% of the snaps this season, meaning he will be squaring off against Packers right tackle Zach Tom for most of the night. Through 2 weeks, Tom is second among right tackles with at least 30 pass blocking snaps and pressure rate allowed at 3.6%. Additionally, Tom's 5.6% pressure rate allowed last season led all right tackles with a minimum of 250 pass blocks. When you talk about matchups every week, guys, that's a matchup that you go, hey, I like the way we're sitting there, boys. The way we're sitting.
That's where you go, here's a guy.
Oh, don't. I can't. Have you guys seen that new it's basically the new Frank Caliendo? He's like the Chris Collinsworth impressions guy. It's just
yeah, he's good. I've seen him on Twitter.
It makes me so mad because he's good, but it also it's like, oh, Patrick Mahomes, the way he threw that interception, it's amazing.
Exactly. All right. So there are your matchup insights according to NFL Pro and Next Gen Stats. That's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. Appreciate you.